Oh man, here we are, the first week of November. Was it? Hang on, let me check the calendar, old man, before you say that. The second week of November, just like I said.
Yes.
Ready to go. What do dates mean? What do months mean these days? Not much, man. I think we slaughter turkeys or something. You know what? Last month was Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So,
it was. That's right.
We'll have a nice little compromise. What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday. It's time to talk about a couple of things that we found mildly interesting going on in the world of Linux and open source. Hopefully we're going to have a interesting conversation about a couple of things. And hey, I get to talk about Snap, my favorite software project.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You know. Boom. There we are. Hello, Arthur. I'm just getting the last little bit of show notes put together and transmogrified. Jill's freezing. She's got a t-shirt on. She's so cold.
Well, I am thinking of putting a jacket on, but I always get hot during the show, so I put a jacket on, then I'm too hot. So I think I'll just wait to warm up.
That's what happens. If I need to adjust the temperature, I will shut the door to the studio, wait 10 minutes.
It warms up.
It gets rough, but even when it's like super hot, it's still like noticeably warmer in here. You walk out and you're like, oh, it's nice and cool outside.
Mm-hmm. I did have the heater on earlier, so it's still kind of nice. It's nice in the house.
I think I've cut the heat on, I want to say once. I want to say once. Yeah, I want a safety once, just because I don't want to be like, yes, you did that one time. Like no one would ever know except for me. But I think maybe I've like cut it on once so far.
Today was the first time that we really needed it in months. So, in fact, we had fired it up about a week ago just to get it going and get the stink out, because when you first fire up a furnace after you haven't used it in a year,
it's got that almost burnt smell funk. Like, yeah.
So what we do is we fire it up and open all the windows in the house and let it air out, and just to get it going. Mm-hmm.
So if you are playing Trackmania with us, I got that swapped out last night.
Yay!
Replaced 2 tracks.
Nice, Finn.
We got that together. I got to do social media things too, don't I? Yeah, I do. What have you been up to, Jill? I've been installing Telnet on cameras.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because I do stuff like that when I get bored. Better hide your cameras from me when I get bored.
Oh my gosh, I've had so much going on this week that I was having a hard time trying to figure out, okay, what do I put in my intro? And of course, the most important thing would be Ubuntu Summit. So,
what do they do at the Ubuntu Summit? I'm blissfully ignorant. I knew there was an Ubuntu Summit because Ryder was posting pictures about going to it to Prague in Discord, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's focused more on the developers of Ubuntu and open source projects. And working together, collaborating, like a lot of projects had been created because of the summit, which is nice, on GitHub. And it's more developer focused as opposed to UbuCon, which we have at scale most every year except this year, I should say. UbuCon was focused on community and desktop outreach and support, but this one is for the developers, and they've had them before in the past. It's just been since COVID. This was the first one, and it's kind of like the KDE events and GNOME events, just for the developers to work together.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and check out Strider's talk and see if he held his microphone correctly this time.
I could hear him good. That was great. Yeah, and the Canonical AV team did an excellent job. I thank them, and they even put it in the feed on the video.
Well, that doesn't. Well, to you, that means they did an excellent job.
Yeah.
I don't know. Traditionally, conferences, that WineConf one, I wanted to stab people.
Oh, yeah.
That. I don't know.
But yeah, most everyone sounded really good at Ubuntu Summit, and they had a nice camera, and it was 1080p. It was watchable.
I hope in 2022 everybody on Team Linux strives for higher quality than watchable.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was happy with it, because it was watchable. Because there's some other conferences that aren't watchable. The horrible quality video and sound is bad because they're not using the proper mics. It just. So this one was done very well, which I would hope so. I would hope.
And
oh, poor Alex. Toilet issues. Oh, you're gonna miss LWW because of toilet. No. I'm teasing you, Alex.
Okay, I think I have things lined up. All right, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
We got a 4-way. We are locked in, just about ready to go.
Okay, I think I will go take my break. Yeah, it rained really hard, huh, Mir? Yeah. Yeah, we actually had a pool of water in our backyard, so that was a good thing. Got lots of water. Oh, and Arthur, and I got my emoji cup again. Do, 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 do. Hey, Mayo. Okay. I will be right back.
All right. I think we are ready. Most of our our plea flight checks have been completed. That is up, and I need to pull that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What was going on with the Doom soundtrack guy? I saw Pedro posting about that earlier. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Doom soundtrack news. Doom Eternal composer Mick Gordon has accused ID Software of crunch, stealing his work and poor management. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of text about it. Just get angry about it. Post online. Don't read it. Sign a demo. OST. All right, so this was like 2, maybe 3 years ago, and id at the time kind of threw him under the bus for the OST soundtrack because it wasn't done on time. And he is coming back and saying, yeah, none of that's true. Like, I just spent a couple of years with like lawyers, and they offered me a 6-figure not salary, but a 6-figure amount of money just to shut up and not ever say anything about it again. So, all right. Oh no, that's the human way. Micro Arthurian. I think this is like yet another good example that no one will ever learn from. Mobs are dumb. Because I do remember the internet going after Mick Gordon a couple of years ago. You know. We did it, Reddit. Didn't you get the other side of the story? Do you still feel good about doing it? Do you ever go back and be like, oh man, I caused this guy a lot of grief. And, you know, I helped participate in that. Messed with his mental health. No, but we did it, Reddit. That's why mobs are dumb. Next time you're thinking about joining on the hype train, Maybe sit back, relax. It's like the whole Bayonetta thing, right? You think about Bayonetta 3 thing. There's always point B to that. That's why I tapped the brakes even that first day. I'm like, man, I'm not going to say anything about this until we figure out what's going on, because it just didn't sound right, right? Didn't sound right. Turns out it wasn't right. But, you know, everybody went out and blasted the replacement Bayonetta voice actress because they're fighting the good fight. Oh. Mob's gonna mob, my man. Mob is gonna mob. I mean, this has always been a problem. Not necessarily mobs, but people get caught up in the machine. They don't realize they've been caught up in the machine, and they're caught up. They end up addicted to being angry. That little serotonin bump they get when they get a little. They don't realize that it's an addiction. But that's all right. Usually people grow out of it, or sometimes people wake up and are like, wait a minute, I'm trapped in the system that was created. I'm part of the outrage cycle. All right. So I have that together. I have a very cool, if anybody's thinking about buying a camera for live streaming, don't. Give me about a week. Maybe not even a full week. Give me about 6 more days. Because I got the best value. By far. Now, don't listen to anything I just said if your budget's like $20. You're like, no, I'm going to spend $20 on a camera. But if your budget's somewhere, you know, you were thinking about getting like a DLSR or something like that, and you were looking at spending $400, $500, $600, how about 2? Maybe $250. I'm going to hook you up. Why? Well, the beginning of this story is, I'm just going to tell you right now, the beginning of this story involves installing Telnet on the camera. But there's nothing warms my little heart more than removing artificial restrictions from products and turning them into something useful. Especially something that everyone else is like, oh no, let's just throw those away because we can't use them for live streaming. Stay tuned. Hey man, listen, don't judge me. I mean, all the cool kids are installing Telnet on their cameras, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Did you check the Mastodon trend?
Hey, Inertia.
All right, beautiful people. Jill's back. I'm going to get a reef. Actually, I'm going to nuke some tea. This is the time of the year where the weather is like straight up bipolar.
Yeah.
This is the time twice a year where I'll have ice cold beverage and I'll want a nice warm cup of tea so you can play that juggling game of like,
yeah. I've been enjoying tea at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I got a taste like that, Inertia, because it's all part of my plan to, I don't know, I'll post it when I get done with it. There. Haha.
Hey, Inertia, what have you been up to? Haven't had you in chat in a while. Yeah, I like this emoji cup, Artherin. I will, actually, I got out all of them. I've got a couple others I'll bring on LWW and show that I hadn't shown in a long time. Oh, yeah, so thank you, Artherin. I am a lot better. Yeah, I got the COVID shot and I got a flu shot. And then it did me in. It was my COVID booster. Yeah, so I had a hard weekend. Happy to be feeling better again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had so much going on this week. And it's like, okay, I've got to stop. I got to stop. I got to take care of myself and get the shot. So what had happened is Steven was off work and I was off work this coming weekend. I mean, the last weekend. So, which was nice. So we took the opportunity and got ourselves vaccinated, which was good. We were dreading it because with me in particular, I always react to the shots. And, but he did okay. He said he had little chills, but I had like 3 days of feeling like I had the flu, essentially. But I got it done. So now I am ready to go to Disneyland this weekend. And that was the other reason I decided to take care of both, because, we do Disneyland, frequently, like every month, and I want to be protected. So, oh yeah. With scale, there were some people that got it, and fortunately didn't seem to get too sick from it, but we all were lucky. But we were all very careful and masked, so that really makes a difference. Yeah, no, that was... I've actually got a lot of friends right now who've been getting COVID recently. It's not good. Fortunately, they get it mild, but if you get it... Most of them get it mild, but I've had a few friends and family members that have gotten long COVID, and that's no fun.
I leave you alone for 10 seconds and we're talking about being sick.
Oh, no. Because Arthur was asking how I was doing because I got my shots. So.
How are you doing, Jill?
I am doing good now.
All right. Mm-hmm. So I have that together, and that is pieced in. That's working. All right. And we'll see how the HDMI.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell everyone about that in a moment. We're going to get ready.
Okay.
We're going to get on it. We're going to get to it.
Okay.
Let me scroll through and find our outro. Good tea.
Oh, good. What flavor is it, Ben, or is it just classic tea?
No, this is new tea with bacon.
No.
I just drink black tea.
Yeah, I kind of remembered that. Yeah.
I drink too much tea. I like green tea, but the problem is like green tea really dries out my mouth. And
oh, yeah.
When I say I drink tea, I drink, I don't know, 45 to 50 plus cups a day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So half a box. Because you got to consider, I drink a lot of liquid. It doesn't mean if it's tea or anything like this. Like this 2 liter,
yeah.
I'll grip and sip this. This will be gone in 30 minutes. I drink a lot. I got a drinking problem, Jill.
Yeah, you do. No, drinking liquid is great. I mostly drink water or my 0-calorie drinks. Like Hint and Bubbly and that kind of thing. And then I have tea. I'll often have a tea at night, a herbal tea. I don't care for green or black, but I do like the herbal teas. Like
plant water.
Yeah, vanilla and stuff like that. Yeah. Throat comfort. That was one I used to use before I went on LWW when I was having my throat issues.
Tea is gonna tea. It's good. It's nice and warm. It's got a little bit of caffeine in it. That's why I drink my pretty much just straight water. I mean, this is like got that crystal. I don't like plain water. Plain water doesn't have enough kick to it. So I put
you like something with flavor
packets and like a caffeine packet. I'm like, all right, I'm good. Because you know me, I gotta have my caffeine. I'm wired up, man.
Yeah. No caffeine for me, but I do like Crystal Light a lot. Actually, I have just got one of the tubes of it. I hadn't had it in a long time.
I buy the ones, I found out that they make them for pitchers, like the big long tubes.
Yeah.
So I got the pitchers and I dump that and I take one of my caffeine flavored things and I pump it in there and I throw it. Here's what I do.
Very good.
And I'll put it in the icebox. I'm like, hey, man, that'll be great. It'll be nice and chilly. And I get up the next morning and it's like, oh, it's cold. I shouldn't have refrigerated that. Oh, well. And I try not to drink too much soda.
Yeah.
Which, this is it. Like a 12-pack is pointless. Like a 12. I will cut through a 12-pack in maybe 35, 40 minutes. Just slamming them.
Yeah.
So you got to stay away from stuff like that.
I drink the 0-calorie ones, all the different flavors, the Ahas, the Soleils.
I like fizzy drinks.
Bubbly.
Yeah. I like carbonated beverages.
I drink those when I'm eating lunch or dinner. And then the rest of the day, it's water or a hint or a water with a little flavor, 0-calorie flavor in it. But then when we go out to eat, on occasion, I will have a full syrupy, sugar-filled soda.
Mm-hmm.
But I pretty much don't. I only drink those once in a while because, in fact, they're too sugary most of the time now for me because I'm drinking all the 0-calorie stuff. So.
See, that's like whenever I avoid anything with sweets or processed sugar in it.
Yeah.
Like not from a health thing. It has nothing to do with like I'm trying to be. I was like I just do not like.
You don't
sweets.
like it, yeah.
Like, ugh. But yeah, the Soda Stream.
Yeah, Soda Stream.
The math doesn't work out on that. So again, let's go back to the amount of liquid I consume.
Mm-hmm.
So it's financially better for me just to buy a sacrificial 12-pack maybe once every other week of something and just kill it immediately. Sense. And I'm like, that's good. A tasty treat. All right. Yeah, what I'd want is like a nice big tank of CO2 and like some Diet Coke syrup. I'd be good. But then again, I'd be dead in a week. We would find out the lethality of Diet Coke. We would work it out. It's like, how long did it take?
Oh, yeah. I actually know someone who had a massive stroke, and they said it was probably her intake of Diet Coke because she was on that every minute. That's what she drank all the time. And her doctors had told
with anything like that,
stop.
anybody who's going to like constantly drink that much Diet Coke is doing other bad things for their health too.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy person. It's not like, oh, that was their one thing. Everything else, no, they got up every morning and they exercised and did all that.
Yeah, except this person was healthy. And in fact, she had
anybody drinking that much Diet Coke, not healthy.
Yeah, she did everything else healthy. She went to the gym, she did all that other stuff. But I know people who've gotten really ill from Diet Coke, drinking it too much.
So there's your pro tip.
Everything in moderation, Once in a while is okay.
Moderation is a place that exists somewhere in somebody's imagination. Everything in moderation except for moderation. I don't know. Like, there's always, like, for splurging right there. But, like, yeah, if you only consume soft drinks, hey, that's usually, like, the, like, there's other things going on right there. It's like when they say, like, oh, this one person only had this one thing, when they do studies, like self-reporting studies. And I'm like, but they're probably doing a bunch of other stuff they're not right now. I'm like, yeah. Because you know what? We're all us. And that's how we roll. 48 cans of Diet Coke. Yeah, see, that's my problem. That's why I buy 12-pack, man. If I bought like 2 24-packs, or if I buy, I buy what I'm going to drink that day. There's no concept of, I always use this as a very real thing. A 6-pack of beer in my refrigerator is safe. I'll never touch it because there's no point. There's no point to having 6 beers. Like, they're like, okay, you get to taste a beer for a second, but that's not even enough to get a buzz. You can drink those real quick, so just leave them in there.
Yeah, I don't like diet drinks at all. They're either 0-calorie or they have sugar once in a while. I don't like the aftertaste.
I tried them one of the what is it, the Coke Zero? The one with the black can?
Yeah.
I
don't like cola. I don't like cola at all. Yeah, I like the Fantas, the oranges, the strawberries, and all that stuff, but I don't like colas.
I like the Diet Cola flavor, and I haven't really found anything that was, because I guess it's just such a distinct thing. It doesn't matter who makes the Diet Cola. It all kind of just tastes like a Diet Coke. So, like mild variations on top of that. So, like whoever I'll buy. Flavored seltzer.
Yeah, see, that's what I drink mostly. It's a 0-calorie flavored seltzers. That's what I drink.
What do you flavor it with? Vodka?
No
whiskey?
alcohol. Usually has a little tiny bit of juice, like putting a lemon in your water. That's what I like to drink.
That's probably like alcohol. Alcohol is extremely calorie dense. Like I can't.
Oh yeah, and it's got a lot of sugar in it too.
Yeah, there's ethanol, man. I cannot maintain like svelte, super in shape Vin if I'm drinking at all.
Yeah.
Vodka or beer and seltzer? Get out of here. You're not welcome in this place anymore. Beer and seltzer. Ooh.
No, I do like occasionally a mixed drink. I get those at Disneyland. Some Midori sours or
If
their
you can make it taste like candy,
Tatooine
Jill will
Sunset or
entertain
something
it.
like that.
Yeah.
If it tastes like a sour candy, I will drink it.
My buddy Jules, she is into the crazy, like hyper sweet ones. And I'm like, I couldn't drink anything.
Yeah.
And this is on principle. It's not necessarily even the sweet. I can choke down. Like I will have a glass of like typical what you would consider like margaritas.
Yeah,
like
I love margaritas.
The adult slushy, the green flavored one.
Yeah.
I'll have
Apple
one of those, but I can't have
watermelon.
more than that because I'll get like sugar headache. My body's like, it's going crazy. But the problem I have with that is I don't want to drink anything with alcohol in it that I can't taste the alcohol in it.
Yeah. See, I'm the reverse.
If
I don't
can
like the
taste
flavor of alcohol.
Yeah, if I can't taste the alcohol, that is way too dangerous. That is weapons grade drink right there. I don't want to be anywhere near it because that's the type of thing where you wake up in a different state, like adjacent to the state you started in before you blacked out. So,
Well, then you can be like me and don't drink the whole drink and just drink a little bit of it. I never finish it.
you see, I drink
I do
responsibly.
like- oh, I
Jill.
like-
I finished my meal.
I do like pina coladas, and sometimes I get them with
Those
alcohol
are
or virgin.
A little too sweet. Like the
Yeah.
sourness in a margarita, I can deal with.
Okay.
Pina coladas, I've too much.
Yeah, I figured that might be too sweet for you. You definitely wouldn't touch a Midori sour. It tastes like Sour Patch Kids.
That I don't have that reference. I don't know what Sour Patch Kids taste like.
It's a sour gummy, kind of like a sour gummy,
I don't know what that
like
tastes like.
lemon and orange and
I know what a lemon tastes like. I like lemons.
yeah, it's like it's lemon acid on a gummy.
Why would you do that to perfectly good lemon acid, citric acid?
Yeah. I love lemons and oranges. I mean, I can eat a lemon whole.
Yeah.
Although right now I'm not supposed to
I've
because
been trying to get you to peel them first, but you insist on eating the entire thing.
my heart medicine. I'm supposed to stay away from that stuff.
Lemons?
But I like it. Too much lemon and grapefruit. Grapefruit is really bad.
I
for
like
people.
grapefruits.
Yeah, that's what Steve's favorite is. He has one every morning.
But I also
Strider.
don't like peeling anything. Not that I got a problem peeling it, it's just like a bunch of extra work. I'm the type of person, like if I wanted a grapefruit, you would have to present it to me pre-peeled.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Steven does every morning. He does his whole routine with the grapefruits. He has that and a bowl of oatmeal, and that's breakfast for him.
Well, one of the things about
I love tangerines. Are
here in the United
yummy.
States, like they don't have a concept of pub beer.
Oh, yeah.
So like everything you get here is like 5% volume and up. You can't get like a 1.2 or 2% like a small beer. I mean, I'm sure there's some specialty thing. Well, actually, I'm talking
Yeah.
talking about at a bar, okay, a place that you've never been. Well, maybe you've been to a bar, but yeah, just like on tap, they don't have small beer, which is kind of like boo. All right, everyone, are we ready? There's two of us, so
Yes,
that's like a call response thing.
Oh, I was reading chat.
I mean, it could have been the royal we.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, we gotta swear in the prince. The queen's gone.
I know, yeah.
All right. Maybe he'll make it all the way to coordination. All right. We have that together. You're here for pie talk. We got some pie talk. Stick around.
Yeah.
Let me get that up. And do I have that loaded? Okay, we have that loaded. Good. Everybody, let's get underway. Let me get recording. Yeah, hang on 1 minute. And I'll get it in a second. What is that? Layoffs, FYI?
Oh. oh, tech layoffs.
Okay. Because they understood. Yeah, the meta thing is like,
Yeah.
they way overhired.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jill. Ready?
Okay, ready.
In 3. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, and you just heard Jill Bryant. How's it going? We're back.
Yeah.
Exciting things to talk about this week.
I love your sweatshirt, Vin. I just noticed it.
What? My little T-Rex?
It's so cute.
It's Christmas. He's got like a little Christmas sweater on.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I love it. Ugly sweater, but cute.
What have you been up to?
Oh boy. So I actually stayed up all night Monday to Tuesday morning watching the talks at Ubuntu Summit in Prague in Czechoslovakia. And our very own Strider, creator of Lutris, he did an awesome talk called Linux as a Video Game Preservation Platform.
Strider, I was watching you on Discord on your way to Prague. I was
Yes.
like, okay, where are you going to mess this up? I was rooting for you, though. I was rooting for you, by the way. And you made it.
No, he did a wonderful job. I think it was one of the best talks he had ever done. And and not too long a time either. He got everything he wanted to say, in about a half hour. It was great.
Nice, concise talk. Pretty decent. I got to go back and watch that. Where can we watch that, Jill?
At the Ubuntu website, there's a website that you can go and watch the video stream from. I don't know it off by heart, but I can put it in our show notes.
All right.
And yeah, there were a lot of really good talks there, including one from Michael Tunnell, who I work with and co-host with on the Destination Linux podcast. He did a great talk on open source marketing done right. And that was really helpful. A lot of good engagement with the audience on that one too.
Right on.
Yeah.
And, I'll look forward to Jill digging out that URL so I don't have to.
I have it. I've got it. I just don't know the name of it.
Let's see. What have we been up to? Oh, if you didn't keep track on, we kind of had an interesting time. When was it? Saturday night, I told everybody right before we started the show, I'm like, yo, so I kind of spilt like a solid tablespoonful of tea in an HDMI splitter that's connected to this box that Jill's on. That's the box I use for Jill and Jordan in the studio. And it's like, everybody keep an eye on it. And if you were watching live, you could tell by the end of the first segment that we did on Linux Game Gas Weekly, it was starting to spaz out a little bit. I took it apart and I cleaned out. Like, okay, it was fine. By the way, I knocked over some tea in here, which I've done, I think, twice. I don't put anything in the tea, unfortunately. I'm like on the glass desk. Mostly just like held right at the edge.
Yeah.
With just tension. I'm like, okay, that's good. But apparently someone dripped into the HDMI splitter, which is on like I got a wall of HDMI stuff. There's like 13 cables back there. So I took it apart and I, blew it out. I didn't even put the case back on. It was like just hanging, dangling. And I'm like, hey, it's working. Leave it alone. We'll see. And it died and I had to swap it out.
Oh, yeah. And with glass, the water just kind of ripples and it goes.
Well, it had dripped down into it over the edge.
Okay.
And it was like, man, and that was bugging me. So it was the first thing I did Sunday morning when I got up. I'm like, I don't want to buy another and these are cheap HDMI splitters too. These are like the little $14 ones that have been on 24/7 for like 6 years. Like they've done their job. I took it back apart and I like emptied some contact cleaner in it and I got my toothbrush out and I brushed its teeth, its little circuit teeth, and I blew out the HDMI cable, plugged it, started working again. There it is. It's working right now. I was very excited about that. I don't know why, but yeah, I didn't want to, because I know, here's why I was excited about it. Because I know the HDMI splitter that I'm replacing everything with is the ones from SIG. And they're crazy expensive. Like they are, they do the 4K, 3D, HDR and all the stuff, EDID, memorization, and they can do like breakdowns and stuff like that. And they're like $60 a piece. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to buy a $60 HDMI splitter, so I don't have to. But all of that, I just told you, was stalling because I wanted to show you this picture.
Ah, yes. There we go, Ven. Ven did something cool that a lot of people would find useful.
No one would find it useful, Joe.
Probably not me.
Never.
But
no. Not in a million years. What we're seeing for the audio listeners is, things I get up to around the house, like installing Telnet on a digital camera. Why? I have my reasons. I have my secrets, and I might keep them. No, I won't keep them. What I am doing is I found a particular camera that is awesome in every possible way, except you can't use it for live streaming like we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. It's got HDMI out too, and it does 1080p out. It's got interchangeable lenses, and it's 20 plus megapixels, but you plug HDMI cable into it. That's got all the overlay stuff on it, and there's no way to get rid of it.
Oh, yeah. That's always, a pain.
So it might be running Android, which means that it's pretty easy to get around that. Enough to maybe get some Telnet installed on it, maybe to modify that firmware a little bit and get rid of that overlay. Yeah.
Very good.
So
very good, Ven.
Stay tuned for that video that I'm working on. So what I was talking about in the pre-show, if you've been planning on buying a like a DLSR or something like that for live streaming, hold off, because there's a glut of these things available. Why? Because you can't use them for live streaming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not because they're bad. Yeah. And it just turns out that they were like, you know what? If you give us like $300 more, we'll remove that artificial restriction. Yeah. Right. And so, let's just flip that switch and use it and keep things like that out of the landfill.
Yeah.
That makes me happy right there. Less e-waste, man. That like victory lap, plus people get to get cool stuff. I'm down with that. Now,
it's one of the reasons why I have the Sony Alpha 6400 is because it doesn't you can turn off the overlay, which is nice, and it's great for streamers, but it's made for, this job of streaming.
The Alpha series are pretty decent cameras. I use the Nikon D3400. That's what I have in here, but like by Nikon, I did that video on like how to get this thing to stay online. Nikon's fine with any type of DLSR or, cropped or full frame mirrorless, which everything is now. It's all about the glass that's on the lens. Like if you got your pack-in lens, it's going to look like, whatever camera it is with a pack-in lens. Like this Nikon's got a $600 lens on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a $200 camera, but I had a bunch of glass sitting around from my,
from previous.
My old Nikon D80. Mm-hmm. And I bought a bunch of glass for that. And I'm like, ooh, you know what? I have a prime lens. Click that on.
There you go.
Low f-stop. Works great. But stay tuned for that. Bunch of fun things in the pipeline. Now, also come play Trackmania with us. We're doing
yes.
This Friday. I updated 2 maps. We had our Trackmania thing last night, which we dumped 14 new maps. We get together, we go around them, we vote on them. And it's a good way to be able to see, hey, who can't make it around, or like a lot of people are not going to have fun with this one. That's how we experiment. And then I swap those back out. Server stays up 24/7. You don't even have to show up if you're like, I just want to kind of compete, but I don't want to hang out with everybody. You can pop on the server whenever you want. It keeps track of everybody's time for all time and eternity. But yeah, it's a good time. We'll be back Friday doing rounds, doing points, having a good time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Check it out, twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast. There's a schedule button and even a link to the new page. Now,
oh, and thank you, Arthur. He put the link for the Ubuntu Summit talks, and you can go to the YouTube channel Ubuntu on Air. There you go.
There we go. Hey.
Yay!
Now, dun 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 dun. What happened to Signal Desktop?
Oh boy, no more Snap, Finn.
Some things has happened, man. Apparently, at the beginning, October 10th of last month, the Signal Desktop Snap from snapcraft.io disappeared, Joe. It went away. It was gone. And it remained gone for almost a month with no information. Like, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on? Nobody knew. And, a little while later, on the 15th, somebody from the Snapcraft project came in and was like, hey, by the way, something happened. I'm not going to tell you what, but yeah, Snap Store administrators had to remove it in accordance with our policies. That's it. That's all we got. Shrug emoji.
Yeah.
And turns out the guy responsible for the maintainer for the Snap, he was like, hey, that was more information than he got when he asked. He was like, why was my package removed from Snapcraft? And they're like, oh, they never wrote him back.
Yeah.
And it turns out a bit later, come find out, the thrilling conclusion to our story is the Snap maintainer comes back and he's like, hey, it turns out it was a DMCA takedown request from Signal. We're talking about the Signal desktop app. Canonical, they're currently working with Signal to resolve everything. Mm-hmm. There was a communications breakdown, and that took place. And, hey, happy ending. The Signal desktop thing is back and ready to go. Couple of things on this, though. And even the maintainer of the project said, I didn't change anything in the package either. It's not like they came back and asked, hey, you need to fix this, this, and this, and this. What happened is where I found this. This made it to Hacker News. And it got blew up on Hacker News and a bunch of comments on it. And Signal had to go, oh, maybe not. Maybe we don't want to tingle with this beehive. And a couple of ways to look at this, because you got to consider this, the Snap version of Signal is unofficial. Doesn't come from Signal at all. And Signal's, like it or not, they're well within their rights to be like, hey, we didn't authorize anybody to redistribute our Debian package. By the way, they offer a Debian package.
Yeah, that's what I use on my desktop.
Yeah, and you just punch it right in. And coming from that, I got to feel that the Signal developers, I feel this just a little bit. Like, we do have a Debian package, and we know how to provide support for that Debian package. We have no idea. And, even if you got it from, what is it, Snapcraft?
Yeah, Snapcraft.
Yeah, Snapcraft.io. Really up to date on the Snap technology. Here at LWD. I'm not, but even if you downloaded it and you had a problem with it, logically, where do most people end up going for support? Signal.
Signal, yeah. What's going on here? Why can't I get my Snap?
I can genuinely imagine this not being malicious, as we're upset that they're redistributing our deb. I could very much see this being like, we're tired of answering support questions about something we don't, because even as a business, you don't want to turn that person away. You still want them to use your product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it got resolved. This is a good thing. That's the good news. And Canonical has said they're going to update their contact policy. So the next time, and there will be a next time, some company or project, just smites an unofficial repackaged Snap from the store, they will at least notify the maintainer.
Yeah, no, that I am so happy about this. I mean, I like I said, I use the Deb on the desktop, and then on my phone, I use, just downloaded it from the Play Store.
Yeah.
So, but there's also a flat pack.
There is a flat pack, which is not official either. So
Yeah.
let's be fair.
Yes. But the Deb I knew was official. So that's the one I installed.
They have the, I went and checked Signal. I don't use Signal personally, but I did a little bit of research into this when I was following as the story was unfolding this week. I'm
Yeah.
like, what happened? Because when I first started putting this in the notes, we had no idea what was going on. It was like, poof, it just disappeared. I'm like, oh, something's up. And, I'm like, ooh, gossip, tech gossip. Let's get on this. And, it's kind of benign. And, it exposed like two things you got to keep in mind. I see this even when I'm helping somebody with like working with OBS, because I get tons of questions from that. How do I do X, Y, Z? And we're not talking like, oh, I can't make X thing work. And it's like, how do I route audio from this using jack to, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get those questions. And I always ask, I'm like, are you using Flatpak version? Even though it's official now, are you using a snap? And if the answer to that is yes, I say, not my problem.
Yeah. No support from Ben. No.
I don't do that. There's nothing malicious about that whatsoever. I'm not doing a victory lap. I'm like, ooh, containers are bad. It's like both of those are going to have different problems.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That, just compiling it from source or running it from, a Debian package is not going to experience. And I don't know the answers to that. Again, it's not anything malicious. And I can see Signal going from like, we don't want to have to maintain this in some way to capacity to support it. But then again, it could have just been straight up pettiness on Signal's part going, you can't redistribute that. We didn't give you any authorization to redistribute our Debian package in any shape, form, or fashion. Or it's kind of a dumb move, as they learned. That doesn't work very good on the PR side. But hey, some good came out of it. They, Snapcraft is going to rework how they communicate, which is good. I'd like to see if they had, especially like DMCA type stuff. I like how Microsoft does it at GitHub, where they just post it. Like, here's the DMCA. Here's the reason. Look at it. Just to avoid that 2 weeks of mystery of, or, accordance with our policies. Like, come on. Let's not do that. Good news, Jill.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nitrix OS is actually one of my favorite and most innovative and beautiful Debian base distros available.
Jill, what is your least favorite?
I like all the distros. That's what makes Linux awesome, is we have choice. But this one has just been upgraded. So Nitrix has just been upgraded to version 2.5. And I've been running it on one of my laptops behind me for quite some time. And what's unique, there's a lot of unique things about this distro, Vin. So the first is that this distro is free of systemd. Yes, there is Deb1 and some other distros that have that. But this one is based on app images and has its own awesome desktop called the NX desktop, which I have really been growing to love. It's a little bit like a combination to me of KDE and GNOME together. Has some nice features of both. And what's also nice is this new version of Nitrix OS 2.5 has the latest Linux kernel 6.0. And it uses tech from KDE 5.26.2. And their NX desktop is an overlay on KDE Plasma using the MauiKit framework and apps. So another thing that makes this distro unique, and one of the reasons why I've been enjoying using it, because it's unique and different and very innovative. And it includes a whole library of its own apps, built using the Maui framework, and which actually includes one of my favorite file managers, the Maui Index file manager, which is really nice for bookmarking folders and files and organizing all your files. I really enjoy that file manager. And the NX Software Center actually contains plenty of app image package software, including things like Skype and Google Chrome, as well as the Maui apps. And there are preloaded tools to install Steam, the itch.io game store, the bottles wrapper for wine, and even an NVIDIA driver installer. So, it's got lots of innovation in there, and I recommend everyone trying this distro. It's not necessarily for beginners, but it's for those of you who have been using Linux a long time. It's got some features that we've wanted in other distros.
Jill, if you've been using Linux for a long time, you get enough sense to stay away from something like this. This is app image based.
No.
I got an operating system to do work, not to play around. Oh, you mean people who install operating systems to play with? Got it.
Oh, well, I do both. I have my machines, like my broadcasting rig, streaming rig right now. That's Ubuntu stable, but then I test all the other Linux distros on all hundreds of computers that I own. So I use them as a platform.
When you substitute the word test for play, it sounds a lot more professional. Now let's take a look at a distribution for what it is. It's app images all wrapped together, kind of like Fedora's Silver Blue. And you got to think about that. What's Silver Blue? I never heard about it. It's a distribution made with flat pack technology from the fine folks at Red Hat. However,
this is the first to use all app images.
Even better than that.
Yeah.
This, like the Flatpak, it's using the app images, predates Fedora Silverblue by a full year.
True,
Van. Now, looking up OpenRC as a service manager, that's maintained by Gentoo developers. Why? Systemd 1, face it. Let it go. It's a piece of software. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. Systemd's been around for a long time. I'm not going to fight you over this, but I'm not going to mess. I know how to use Systemd. Systemd's in Debian.
Yeah.
Like, if it makes it to Debian, it won.
Yeah. Ven doesn't live the Dev1 lifestyle of free of Systemd Debian.
No, Jill, I got stuff to do. Again, I use my operating system to get stuff done. It's work. It's not play. It's not philosophy. It's not politics. It's like, it's an operating system, and I need it to work, and I need it to work correctly. Systemd, as much as I still generally dislike it, it works, right? And then I listen to somebody who has a lot more knowledge and know-how. Jordan, who deals day in and day out professionally with Systemd, having worked with that, he's like, it's good. Like, it solves a lot of problems. I'm like, I'll listen to Jordan before I'll listen to some other guy. I don't like it. Why? Because the internet said I just shouldn't like it.
The internet said, yeah. Yeah.
Let's not. Go check it out. What's their website, Jill? If anybody wants to play with us.
It is nitrix.org, I believe. I need to check. Because I went through the article, not their main website.
You can get it at nxos.org.
There we go.
You can meet Nitrix, powered by Debian, KDE Plasma, and frameworks and app images.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it falls into the curiosity thing. Like, this is something to play around with. Same thing with like Silverblue. Absolutely something to play around with, but there's well above my recommended daily amount of chaos would be introduced. Maybe this is like swimming. I was like, that's a lot of weird moving parts. It's really cool that somebody's trying to do it. Not for me, though.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm old and I'm boring. That's why.
Well, another reason I like this distro so much is that they made their own, desktop manager, and it's really nice. Again, it's does.
KDE.
Yeah, it's KDE, but it has some gnomish elements to it, so it's a nice kind of in between. And yeah, as Ben was saying, it's nxos.org. Woohoo! There it is.
Be bold, be different. Powered by Debian, KDE, Plasma, and frameworks. Yeah. So, I mean, it's KDE, which unfortunately is an XFCE, and we all know.
Which is
XFCE.
Ben's favorite.
It's not even my opinion. It's just simple fact. Is the best desktop manager in the history of ever. Nothing is as good as XFCE. I mean, yes, don't believe the rhetoric, don't believe the lies. It is the one true desktop for the unifying desktop for everyone under Linux, no matter what. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you're a huge fan of KDE, you wouldn't like it. Definitely not GNOME. I don't think GNOME users would like it. Come to think about it, if you got some weird whooshy flippity doodah desktop, you probably wouldn't like it yourself. Why? Because it's boring. It's plain. It's incredibly stable. All things I look for in a window manager. And it's got a new release in the works. 4.18 is on the way. Now, our final release is expected between December 15th and December 29th, 2022. Subject to change. Couple of new things in this. One I kind of like. They have a option to keep the panels above windows. You'll never guess what that does. You might have guessed. Okay, it keeps panels above windows. So if you have panel options open in the background, it's just going to stay on top. I like that. Apparently, you can change fonts in the clock applet. Yay, question mark. I guess I've never pulled that up to think about it or look at it, but it is there. Now, one thing I do enjoy, Thunar has a reload icon. Like, okay. I had to look what I was reading. This is like, does it? I'm like, yeah, there it is. That's been replaced with a search. A new recents item has been added to Thunar in the places, so it'll take you back, give you a list of all the places that you've been on your travels. They do point out Wayland migration is in the works. It's only 10 years away, so don't worry about it too much. I mean, eventually. And like most XFCE updates, I am so happy to report that you probably wouldn't even notice it if you've been upgraded from 4.16 to 4.18. And that's what I love about this project. Why? XFCE doesn't change things for the sake of change.
Yeah, it makes improvements that all us users like and need, but it's not glaring in your face. Not no major desktop changes.
No, Jill, we need to completely rethink XYZ.
Yeah.
And change the way it's done. Why? Because that's what happens when you leave a bunch of software developers around and designers and say, hey, develop and design, you get things like that. XFCE just works. And XFCE has stuck to, its roots. It was basically CDE with a glittery body kit, and it's grown a lot from there. But I always say this, I mean, you can rewind like 20 years ago and give me like the first version of XFCE I laid my hands on. You could take that version and dump him right in 2022 and be like, yeah, I got this. Same thing. Done. Try that with GNOME.
Yeah.
Try that with KDE.
With GNOME, usually you need some extensions. And with KDE, you need to dig deep to find all those settings.
Think about it. Like, let's say like KDE 1.3. You take that version of Jill playing with KDE 1.3, like dump that, current Jill 2022 with the KDE Plasma and like have at perfectly, you'll be able to figure this out, right?
Oh yeah. I actually do use KDE Plasma now and again. And, but what I was really happy with this latest release is, one of my updates actually solves a simple but annoying problem. So you can now change the font style and size in the XFCE clock applet, which Ben just said earlier. But to me, that was a major deal because often I can't read the clock applet because the font is too small because I'm half blind. So especially on my 4K monitor, in fact, I'm in an XFCE right now, and I can't read that clock applet. It's just too tiny. So that makes me happy. And there are now 4 clock layouts, date only, time only, date and time and date. And yes, so there has been some of the biggest changes have been in the Thunar file manager. Thunar now has a new bookmark menu in the sidebar and has a new split view option for easily dragging and dropping for those of us who like to use other file managers like MLFM and PCManFM. Now we have the power of the trees, which is really nice. And there is a new image preview of image files, which you can change the settings to embedded or standalone preview. So finally, that's something we have in most of our modern file managers that we have now with Thunar. And it is, just nice to see Thunar getting so much love and getting these much needed updates that put it in the conformance and with the features of other modern file managers.
It's a file manager that needs to manage files.
Yeah, but
I know this is like here comes the problem. But here's some other things we can glue on it and to the side, and we'll get nice, big, and bloated like the other file managers.
Aw, no, but they do a good job of adding features, but keeping the bloat minimal, so that it still runs on a little amount of RAM.
Oh man. We got to get Jill in marketing Thunar slightly less bloated.
It's Rodentia OS after all. The little mouse OS.
Always been a fan of XFCE, and again, it's not for everybody though.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want, you're a desktop manager to do something more than like desktop manager, go install Windows 11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, XFC is a really nice in between kind of like the Afterstep and GNOME or KDE. It's a nice in between.
Well, I like Afterstep. The problem is Afterstep or Enlightenment in the same camp. Both of those, Enlightenment more so. I really want to like Enlightenment, but Enlightenment is about as stable as a rabid emu on a methamphetamine binge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, man. Yeah, the sound system does occasionally crash, doesn't it?
Oh, all of it occasionally crashes. Like I go and I play around with Enlightenment at least twice a year, just because.
Yeah.
I dig the aesthetic, man. I'm a '90s kid. I'm just like, man, I like that look. It looks like our desktops used to look in like 2000, 2001, just out of the box, and I'm digging it. But
yeah, same here.
And for all I know, the same thing could apply to KDE. Same thing could apply to GNOME. XFCE doesn't crash. Like, you could say maybe because it's like less complex of a project, that's fine. However, it doesn't crash. Like the idea of like my window manager and my desktop, anything going wrong there is such a foreign idea. I will take a screenshot of it, of like, look at this.
Yeah, yeah, it's...
What? I mean, it's like getting a Steam survey. It's such a rare thing. And I just hope they keep on doing the. I do hope that they face the Mr. Anderson of Wayland, because it's not going away now. Like it's a real thing, and I want them. It's gotten further than like, yes, we acknowledge Wayland exists. Thank you for attending our TED Talk. It's gotten further along in that. I mean, work is starting to be done on it.
Yes.
Because when I eventually have to switch everything over to Wayland, when X is, left to people with we're going to be seeing the kids running X Windows on their vintage gaming PCs. I'm like, yeah, that's what you run on your vintage PCs, X11.
Oh, yeah. I still frequently run TWM, Window Maker, Rat Poison.
Oh, I'm talking about just X itself.
Oh, okay.
Like, this is what we used to use before Wayland came out, and all the compositors on top of that.
X11.
I want X386.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those days? Installing those Slackware floppy disks with X-Free.
Getting X up and running back in the day was an adventure, especially with the CRTs and figuring out scan frequencies, and it was a dark times. It was a dark times. You got guides online now.
Yes.
Which make it, I love it when I'm like, wow, this is kind of difficult to get set up. I had to do this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, now I want you to imagine how difficult it was setting that up without the internet.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the time we lived in, Ben.
And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't take any pride in that whatsoever. I'm like, man, see, this is why I like new stuff so much. That's why I kind of have that aversion to, like, those are the bad days. Like, we've moved on. Why do you want to revisit that? And you're like, but nostalgia. I'm like, have fun. Give me some new stuff. I want to play with the new stuff. I like living in this crazy new future, and I'll pick up 3 tablets and wave them around like, these were in the TV shows when I was a kid. Now I have them all over the house.
Yes. Plug and play Linux is such a nice thing.
Get on the XFC team.
Yeah.
I'm running Debian testing, so I'll probably be able to play around with it. And
Nice.
I don't know. I haven't run apt update today. It might even be sitting there, some of the earlier packages. So we need to talk about a Raspberry Pi replacement, the TriPi. But before we do that, I want to take a minute, thank everyone who supports us at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. So I managed to stick all of this stuff together, put it together. We got a little shoestring budget, but we get to speak our mind. We're not beholden to anyone, which is always like the initial thing. Like, you might not like what we say, especially like, when Jill, she gets angry and starts cursing at everything.
No.
You're like, man, geez, what do you really think? And, but we're able to say it, which is cool. That was always like part of the dream. We got a couple things, linuxgamecast.com. We got Amazon Wish Zones. We got merch. We got new hoodies. We got Frank files. That's right, Frank. You're back on the store, buddy.
Yeah, you are. And there's even a Razorback tank top that I can buy.
Is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about everybody when I was sticking those products together. We got some Frank bags, and these are updated. These are the 2022 designs.
Yeah.
So if you had an original Francophile shirt, you might want to update this one. Do we anything else? Come hang out with us. If you do support us on Patreon, you get access to our Discord. If you like this show, we got the super long extended version, the live and uncut version in podcast format on your custom RSS feed. You get some sneak pics at projects that I'm working on, access to our Trackmania thing, gangs and gangs of other stuff that I've been told on multiple occasions, like, Vin, you need to put more of that stuff behind the paywall. I'm like, no. I mean, if this was a get rich quick plan, I'm failing at it. So it's not. But we do appreciate your support and keeping us loud, live, and independent. Now, can we talk? What do you think about, we were waxing poetic. I was thinking about, man, I'm a little worried about the future of Raspberry Pi. Now, we'll get around to it in just a minute. Jill's going to tell you about something that is exciting. And I'll agree it is exciting, but it kind of makes me think, ooh, this could be a problem down the road.
Yeah, very true, Van, and we will touch on that in just a minute.
Nobody died, Jill. Calm down.
No. So Friendly Elec has just announced the NanoPi R6S. It's a new single board computer that is based on the Rockchip RX 3588S SoC. And one of the unique features of this cute little single board computer is that it has 3 Ethernet ports. Yes, there are 3 holes. Not 4 holes or 4 lights.
You hear that, Picard?
There are 3 holes. And supposedly, 2 ports operate at about 2.5 gigabits per second, with a third capable of supporting up to 1 gigabit connection. So that's good to know, and we will find out whether that's true or not pretty soon. So, but the NanoPi R6S has 8 gigabytes of LPDDR4 RAM running at 2,133 megahertz and 32 gigabytes of eMMC flash storage. And it also, with the Rockchip chipset, has 4 ARM Cortex A76 cores clocked up to 2.4 gigahertz, plus 4 Cortex A55 cores limited to 1.8 gigahertz. And at launch, the NanoPi RXS supports Android 12 and Linux distributions, including Debian 10.
I'm going to blow them up. I'm going to blow them up a little bit, Jill. I'm seeing the screenshots. They did a horrible job with the copy and paste of the monitors, but they weren't going for realism here. They were.
Yeah.
My problem is that's Debian 11 desktop.
Yeah,
wallpaper.
I was just good, because that was something I noticed on the website too. And they also have their own Friendly Core, Focal Light, and Friendly WRT distros. It doesn't support Ubuntu yet, but they're in the process of making that happen. And it will retail for $119 US, but if you want the aluminum enclosure included, it will cost $139. So pretty sweet. This looks like a really nice,
On behalf of
powerful
everybody,
board.
something we were talking about in the beginning of the show. And look at it. I mean, it's pretty nice, right? Nice little board. It's nice little case, right? That's a nice little case. It's got, the
cute.
LAN 1, 2.5 gig and WAN, HDMI. Nice metal. It's got some fins on it. We all know friendly, like, that's not a $20 case.
Yeah.
Oh. Try to get $20 for that. Now you're going to get $20 for that, because if you're buying that, you're going to need a case for it. And you're like, hey, we have the case for it. And I'm like, fine. And then again, you're also going to get it because it's in stock and it's $119. That's why you're still going to get $20 for it. 8 gigs of RAM, 3 Ethernet ports, 32 gigs on storage, USB-C. And you know what? They even have their own distribution, which is, based on WRT.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you got holes for 3 Ethernoodles, like, you probably might want to use it as a router or something like that. Now, here's some of the things I was thinking about when we say this, because last week we were talking about the x86.
Yes.
Intel board, that was $160. And I'm like, man, this makes sense in a world where you can't get a Raspberry Pi for 8 gig at all. And even if you can find scalpers with them, they're $200 plus. So $165. Now we have $119. We're talking about a rock chip. Like this thing does the happy dance all over what's behind, the 3+ year old ARM CPU and Raspberry 4. And that brings me to like something I'm curious about seeing. I want to know what the SBC single board computer is. You hear me say that a bunch of times. That's what I mean by it. The SBC landscape is going to look like 10 years from now. Because it's been roughly 10 years since the first Raspberry Pi showed up. We remember those, right?
Yeah,
we all bought them.
Absolutely.
It was like 2012.
Yeah.
They were released and we bought them like candy. We did buy because they were cheap. They were silly cheap. They were like $35, right? And you could do a ton of neat things with them. Like you just buy 3 or 4. Oh, a new one came out. Just buy 5 or 6 and just have them laying around. A lot of kids bought them. A lot of teenagers, young adults, people in uni, people getting ready to start businesses. They learned a lot about them. They learned to solve problems with them. They learned and they contributed to the software ecosystem, to the Raspberry Pi, and it flourished. And now those same people 10 years later, they're in the chain of, hey, we got problems at work. I happen to know of a Pi-based solution, and we're seeing that. And we've talked about the Raspberry Pi Foundation a couple of weeks back. They're like, hey, the Pi Foundations, and we're filling orders right now, but we're filling our business orders right now. Kind of a self-fulfilling, like, hey, we got to get these business. And a lot of those business orders came from those kids. I shouldn't call them kids, but, young adults, 20-year-olds that are now in that position of like, hey, we can fix all these problems, compute modules and stuff like that. We're deep into year 3. They didn't stop making kids, Jill.
Yeah.
I checked. We got a generation coming up. We're like 3 years deep. They just can't buy a Raspberry Pi. They've been buying other stuff.
Yeah. Like Odroids, Banana Proids,
right?
Pies, Orange Pies.
Got to get something to get your hands on to play with. And, they've been contributing to that ecosystem, whatever, rock chip type stuff, Orange Pies. And they're going to be bringing that with them. Fast forward 7 years from now, when they're the ones that are going to be in the positions to, at least be in the chain of like, hey, we need to solve this problem. It's not necessarily going to be, I have a Pi-based solution. It's going to be, maybe I have a Nano Pi-based solution or an Orange Pi-based solution, something based on a rock chip or whatever they've done. And of course, this is good for the ecosystem and it's going to spread things out. That's something I worry about the Raspberry Pi Foundation not thinking down the road.
Yeah. Good point, Vin. We were talking about this before the show, and it is, there's been this 3-year hiatus where it's hard to get Raspberry Pis. So the schools are having to order something, the single board computers from other companies. Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a problem. You got to get them. Apple understood that. They gave their computers to school children. Microsoft has understood that. Get them running off this young. It's ultimately, because I got a lot of love for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, is why I'm even thinking about that. Like, things are going to change. Like, there's a reason they say, stay with the one that you came to the dance with. because like those are your people, like that grassroots community, and that's how that halo effect spreads out when those people get into positions to, that's how Linux has worked its way into the server ecosystem.
Yeah.
Us sweaty, gooey nerds, when we were teenagers and Linux came out, guess what? We grew up, we got jobs, and we got management roles. Guess what we knew how to use? Linux. And, that's how Raspberry Pi, unless I'm completely missing the point, feel free to write in or come on the show and tell me, like, you're completely wrong about how this works.
Yeah, they need to, I think the Raspberry Pi Foundation needs to do a better job at maybe balancing, giving a little bit more to consumer as opposed to just focusing on business. Because
it's really
think you're
hard
right.
to cut off that money spigot, though, isn't it?
It is, and I understand that it is hard, but we need to be able to go to micro centers and the local stores and be able to pick up the Raspberry Pi and know it's always going to be there when we need it.
Or not us.
Or online, anywhere.
Both of us are in a position, well, if I absolutely had to get a Raspberry Pi, what am I going to do? I'm going to pay like $250, $275 from a scalper. But do you know what?
Yeah.
14-year-old me, 16-year-old me, I didn't have 200 pounds to spend on it. But you might be able to save up over, summer, like 75, 80 bucks, something like that. So that option, that need hasn't gone away. You got to give the Raspberry Pi Foundation all the credit for kind of making that accessible.
Yeah.
But man, everybody, because it has went from, when you think about it, well, as long as we've been doing this show, like this just outage for consumer, we would get like, oh, look, and somebody else is making a Pi-like device. No, look, there's another Pi-like device. It's not a Raspberry Pi, though. And why don't just buy a Raspberry Pi? Nowadays, that conversation doesn't exist. It's like, hey, that's in stock.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it's $100 and it's, for all intents and purposes, like the things we've been talking about at least the last 2 weeks
have not been Raspberry Pi.
Not Raspberry Pis, and way more powerful than the Pi 4.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, the last big device that Raspberry Pi had was the Raspberry Pi 400, which I adore and I love. And they went out on such a bang on that. And that was during COVID. Mm-hmm. But after that, we've just kind of had silence and it's hard to get stuff. And that little computer, really can revolutionize the Raspberry Pi in the schools. I mean, we already had this high penetration
in the schools. But I'm also like, the problem with the Raspberry Pi 400 is you get people like me, like I need like Tinkerboards.
Yeah.
And
not a case.
I don't have room for a bunch of like keyboards and stuff filling up my desk.
Yeah. It's good. But for the schools and the kids and
maybe the schools
and learning and hacking.
And they really needed see, this is, I want to see what the Raspberry Pi 5 is. I want some signals, some blips, some hope to reach out. And be like,
I'm hoping it's coming soon and we'll get those boards. Yeah.
Something. Because, we were talking in the pre-show, like, I'm probably not going to buy this, but only because I'm pretty sure I'm just going to buy that x86 board.
Yeah.
It was like $160.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because that's going to be a fun thing. I know I will be able to find a use port. And there we go. And it's priced. Again, that board doesn't make sense in a world where you can get a Raspberry Pi 4 gig for $75, but you can't get that right now. Mm-hmm. So, $119 looks like a deal for a NanoPi RS6.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you guys are listening, you want to send me one, make sure you include that overpriced $20 case too. All right, Jill. We have overstayed our walk. We got to get out of here. We got to run. We got to bounce. We got to roll some credits. And how do we do that? I hit that button. Boom.
Aww. Yay. Thank you to our Theron, who's one of our advisors.
And Jill.
Oh, and there's, of course, Ven and Jill, the hosts. But we also have Omegas as an advisor, and we have wonderful executive producers, Barb Rant, Atomic, Mike, Empty, and our Chicago people, Abstraction, Super Dust Out. These are all our Patreon levels. Sea Monsters, Ronaldo, Trudgills, Death Notes, Stephen B. Cherlings. Lots of them. I can't read that font. Aw, we love you all. Thank you for watching.
All right, everybody.
All our wonderful patrons.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry
and viewers.
second week in November.
Yeah. Ven is in the spirit. Yay. I like your sweatshirt, Ven. It's so cute.
It's not a sweatshirt. It's a sweater.
Yeah, sweater, I mean.
They make sweaters, like ugly sweaters, but no, this is not sweaters, but like printed sweatshirts. But this thing's embroidered.
One. Yeah, I have the sweatshirts.
That's what I was talking about. I was looking for some good ugly ones for the holiday season, and this is the first one that showed up. So, oh man,
yeah, they do. Yeah.
I'm always worried about like sizing of these things because my shoulders are kind of wide.
Oh, you got huge, wide shoulders. Yeah.
Because I'm jacked.
And you're long.
Son. Yeah, I'm very long. Long Vin's long.
Yeah.
And usually, like, if I get something that'll fit me in the shoulders, they assume I weigh a bazillion pounds and like, the belly's out here.
Yeah.
And they think I'm like half a meter tall, so it'll end up like the crop top. I'm like, come on. But this works.
That's so annoying. We have problems too with Steven also getting him clothes because his shoulders are ultra wide, so they assume he's either fat or needs a really tall, long, and he doesn't. He's slim, but he's got wide shoulders.
That's Frank's got the stash. Frank's got his he's really in the season, his vampiric llama. Yeah. As he does.
Yeah, I remember you wearing that that
with
sweater.
His R.I.P. legitimate Think Geek penguin tie.
Yeah, that's
a bit of history now, sadly.
Yeah.
All right, let me get some.
There is still some Think Geek merch. It was taken over by the game store GameStop.
Was it GameStop?
Yeah, GameStop. In fact, I have some Think Geek gift cards. My nephew had gotten me them, not realizing that Think Geek, the website was gone. But then I actually called the number on the card, and it's I could use them at GameStop. So that's how I found out.
So yeah, it is at GameStop. Here's the set. Let's see what have they reduced a once beloved brand of like cool, crazy things to. We have 7 things we can buy.
Yeah.
And none of those USB wall chargers and a case and some speakers. Like, get wrecked, GameStop. Yeah, Think Geek used to be
they were so awesome. They were one of the first to have Linux and Unix
like
shirts.
Linux merch. I mean, we're talking like 2002, 2001, somewhere in there, man.
I have every Unix. Actually, they had Unix shirts too, and I have every Unix and Linux shirts they had that first year they opened. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I should wear one of them next week.
What, you
and I have like the original User Bin Girl. I have my original User Bin Girl shirt.
You got to keep them in the original packaging.
Mm-hmm. I do have the original packaging on one of them. They're mostly they were just plastic bags with the sticker.
That way you can have them unopened.
Yeah.
I watch a live stream I watch, which is always interesting to see. Some of you might be familiar with Pink Gorilla Games.
Oh yeah.
In Seattle. And they're a retro game shop, but they have a Twitch channel where one of the co-owners he just streams like, hey, he just puts it on the counter and you watch. And I saw it this morning what was this afternoon, but it was the morning for them. And he had definitely had the guy come in, and he was like, my collection's worth billions of dollars, says the internet. And he had to tell me, like, dude, I can give you like maybe $300 for all this, and I don't really want it. You know, what's important is get stuff that's valuable to you.
Yeah.
Don't get stuff like, I could sell this for this, because when it comes down to it, you usually can't.
Yeah.
Make sure it's important to you if you're going to spend some money on something.
Oh, there's Steve husband. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it, because they have lots of parties today at his work. Celebrating, their tenure at Mattel and whatnot.
It's time for their, what is it? It's Wednesday, so it's like 2-drink minimum.
Oh, Arthur and user Espen, Jill. I like that. I did have, years ago at one of my very first scales, I made my own shirt, and it was what did I put it? Oh, apt get install girl. That was it.
Steve, I got a picture. I saved it just for you. It's got dad joke and a tank in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cool, Ben. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
we'll see
poor dear.
Who gets the joke?
Yeah.
Yep, that's a panther hunting in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Arthur, and USR. Yeah. I know it's not user.
What?
USR stands for something else.
US Robotics.
No, it's... I just read an article about it recently, and I had known that years ago and then forgot. Yeah, Unix System Resources. That's it. Because it's been part of the Unix
Wait until you
directory.
find out what OP stands for.
Ah. That one, I don't think I... Did I ever know that one?
It's optional. Who knows?
Oh. Okay. Good dad joke, Ben. Yeah, Unix System Resources.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Yeah, let's see if we can make that a thing. I'd be like, yeah, just check user bin. I'm like, don't you mean you used him? Said, get out of here. But
Yeah.
leave now.
Yeah, it's funny because, a lot of people say that means user. I said, no, it doesn't, and I always have to look it up, and I always forget. Thank you.
Somebody
Arthur.
says like user, and you know what they mean?
USR.
Roll with it. Don't be that person.
Yeah. Actually.
Just fight through it. Don't.
Yeah.
No. You're like, but I know it needs to be said. And I'm like, this is why nobody invites you to parties.
Yeah. Let's see, there was a... There's another one
Now, you remember the Ladybird browser we were talking about? You know, the new web browser, the guy's writing, from the guy who's writing his own operating system. They got something that's really interesting. Early stages of Google Docs support. So this is like hyper exciting. It kind of works, which is, I can't express how excited I am to see like a brand new from ground up browser.
Yeah.
That's not based on Chromium. It's not based on Firefox.
We had fun talking about that. Actually, yeah, we'll have to put that as an update maybe for the next week's LWW.
Well, if they get something
pretty
with
cool.
it, I compiled it to play around with it, not for this reason thing, but like, yeah, I live in Google Docs. Like, I have no shame about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use like Google spreadsheets or anything, but yeah, like Google Docs is on, like I cut Google a check. I pay them money every month.
That's...
And I also have no interest in hosting my own. None. Those days are gone. So I tried to set up, out of curiosity, the Yuzu Switch emulator, right?
Mm.
I was like, because
Okay.
they got an app. I started because like they got like this app image auto installer thing now. I'm like, oh, let me try that thing out. Let me see how that works. And previously, I just built it from source. I'm like, okay, it downloads, and you get like this error message. And I'm like, oh, okay, how do I fix that error message? And it's like, oh no, this error message is supposed to be here, and you do. There is a rabbit hole of like dodgy information to get that stupid thing up and working because they're trying to be like, oh, we don't want to get sued by Nintendo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So they're making it difficult.
Oh, it is so unnecessary. We're talking like page 2 Google results difficult, Jill.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Like,
okay.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is silly. I mean, you know, if the goal was like, I would genuinely go out and buy a Switch before I would. I mean, I figured it out, but even after like getting all that together, I'd just go buy a Switch before I'd mess with it. The only time I could see like legitimately going through that much trouble in this day and age, like if I wanted to stream using the, and have like the upresed speed and textures. What's that supposed to be? Oh, the classic CDC.
Mm-hmm.
C8, well, CAD, cease and desist. Yeah.
Cease and desist. Oh. Oh boy. I don't like C:. Yeah, the Nintendo, yeah, I gotta be so careful with Nintendo stuff. I mean, gosh, just to you can find plenty of emulators to emulate Mario 64, but to find the true Mario 64 already packaged, emulated is very difficult. It's usually been changed. God, I remember years ago going through that, trying to find an original copy for my Ouya way back in the day. And I found all these knockoffs. So, Boo Boo, or Steve has been, how is work going? Our Theron is resting. It's it's nighttime for him. It is nighttime. Do 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 do. Let's see. Yeah, it is. Steve has been still typing. Okay. Oh, yeah, the barbecue. Cool. Stuffed brisket.
Yeah, unfortunately, Japan's still got some very draconian thoughts and ideas on IP ownership. Like,
yes.
It's I made this, and you better. Here's some good news. I posted that in Discord. Earlier this week, might have been like last week, PC sales, like gaming PC sales has like tripled in Japan.
Oh, yeah. That was, we have, I think, the Steam Deck to thank for a lot of that, too.
Oh, no, these were like gaming PCs.
Oh, just gaming PCs in general? Okay. Yeah, because I had read the articles that they were, using the Steam Deck a lot, and that was nice.
So we're definitely up to like 14, maybe 15 people in Japan with gaming PCs. It's pretty dope.
Yes.
I mean, it was incredibly small number comparatively, I think. something like the sales were like 300 million, which had like tripled comparatively.
Which tripled, yeah. Yeah.
But it's still a rounding error of a rounding error. You know, like all of PC gaming as much, you know, that's where I play games is on the PC. But I also understand like the entirety of PC gaming. If you add us all together, we're like a fraction of a percent compared to like mobile gaming or console gaming.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm there shaking my fist along with everybody else because I can't watch anybody that I normally watch on Twitch because they're all streaming the new God of War. And it's going to be, what do you think? Minimum 2 years before we get that on PC.
Yeah.
And that's extremely story heavy that I don't want to be spoiled on. Well, the argument is always phrased incorrectly with like PC gaming being dead financially compared to console gaming and, you know, now mobile gaming. PC gaming has never been alive. It's a tiny market comparatively.
Yeah, it is.
You know, when you compare to how many, I think I brought that up, like
That's
how many
true.
millions of Switches have been sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're a rounding error. Profitable, but even Sony's in a weird spot right now. Sony's got a spot in its schedule that doesn't have money in it because they went through like 2 years of not being able to produce the PS5 at scale.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to get those out, and that has gotten Sony. That at least got Sony Interactive to go, don't we have a PC gaming division somewhere? They're like, right. Don't people buy PC games? They're like, yeah, people buy some PC games. I mean, it's a big industry as long as we don't compare it to consoles.
Yeah.
And so they bought the Santa Monica company that did the PC ports, and they just like, nom. And got them in. And, you know, we've gotten Days Gone. We've gotten the God of War, Spooderman. And we're going to get The Last of Us. Well, I mean, this is good. This is good.
Yeah. And, you know, no one can deny when people say PC gaming is dead, all they have to look at is the Steam numbers. Like how many users on Steam. I mean, that's just...
Mm-hmm. And again,
there you go. You know?
You know, that's the story we were talking about. Like 30 million concurrent Steam users. And I was like,
Yeah.
Nintendo's sold 170 million Switches.
Yeah. No, true, but 30 million's nothing to...
There's nothing to
shy at.
It's a big number until you start looking at like the console market. And you're like,
Yeah.
But at least, you know, there's always room for growth. This is like when we start drilling it down further, though, I'm like, well, what about the Linux gaming? I'm like, come on now. Mm-hmm. Come on. We're larger than the Mac gaming market at this point.
Yes.
If you just want to see a desolate graveyard of really people that have accepted their fate, go to the Mac gaming subreddit. It's effectively what Linux_gaming subreddit was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh man,
So
maybe we'll get this game. Maybe. I mean, it is because they're like, maybe Feral will port this game. Oh man. It doesn't matter if the switches were turned on or not. Nintendo doesn't sell hardware at a loss. Nintendo got that cheddar. Then they get all those $70. How much does the Switch game cost anyway? I can use Switch game.
I don't have a Switch, but I've seen them available in the store, $30, $40. Is that about right for the per cartridge?
I'd probably say 70, but
yeah, the bigger games probably. I'm always looking at the indies when I'm in the stores.
Yeah, it's like $60. 59, 69.
Okay. See, I was off
64.
because I don't have a Switch. You know what it probably is? I've seen a lot of them used on the market. Those are probably used prices. on eBay and such.
So, yeah. Yeah, Feral is going to Android and Switch. It's almost like I knew what I was talking about 4 years ago when I said that's what Feral's going to be doing in the future instead of Linux gaming. Or Linux games. Every now and then I know what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to business decisions. But then again, yeah, it boggles my mind that we're wasting money and resources on like boxed copies of video games. Like, that's such a foreign concept.
I know. That's why I had to think about it, Ben, when you asked me, because I haven't bought. I mean, I was never a console gamer to start with. I've always been a PC gamer. I have consoles in my computer collection because of collectability, but I didn't grow up with, well, for one, I didn't grow up with them. I'm older. So it was Nintendo I did. And, you know, again, like I started off with Pong, the Pong console, the original console from the 70s. That's
well, I mean, if you could
era.
just completely ignore the like gaming revolution, that was Atari.
Yeah.
In the
well,
70s.
the Atari, yeah, 2600. But I mean, I not like the today's generation where they have a lot more, you know, different consoles they grew up with.
Gaming was a thing; it existed. You just weren't into console gaming.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's the right way to go about it.
Yeah. I have 2600s, but console gaming, see, it didn't even start till I was like 6 years old. So
that's about the right age to get into console gaming.
Yeah. Well, because there was only one, and that was Pong. If you liked Pong.
The ColecoVision, the Odysseys.
Those were later.
They predate the, well, Pong. Were you talking about like Pong on the desktop or Pong in the arcade? I'm talking about like...
No, then there's a Pong console for the home TV. It was the first console ever made for home use. Maybe you didn't realize that. That's why whenever I mention Pong, now that makes sense, because I don't think you knew about it.
No, it's just I got a different answer for that, because the first home console system was the Magnavox Odyssey. Okay,
well, Pong was the there's Pong on it. There's something unique about the Pong console, though. And you didn't probably have the Odyssey because you weren't even born.
I didn't say anything about that. Yeah,
Pong console. Do. And I played Pong, you know, in the arcades too. Okay, so Pong came out in 1972. Yeah, it was affordable. That was that was the good one, but it was the first one that really took off. Let's say that. Everyone who was 5 or 6 years old in my time had that, and this is before the Atari 2600 and any of the other ones that became popular. And but I was on PCs, so.
Yeah, Arthur, a lot of people missed out on the arcade experience, which, you know what? You didn't really miss anything. I mean, we do have barcades these days.
1975 Christmas season, Atari released a home version of Pong exclusively through Sears retail stores. Yeah, it's the one that was a commercial success.
Okay.
And no, I
have no argument here.
Yeah.
I was just like the first, when using like the first console, I was like, yeah, that's the Magnavox, 1972.
Okay, I was schooled on that, but the Pong one was the first commercially successful one. That's the one that everyone had. That was my.
I don't have any argument with you, no?
And Steve Husband had access with Intellivision.
When was the Intellivision released?
80s. I played that actually a lot after
Close. 1979.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They tried to remake the Intellivision. That failed horribly.
Yeah, mirror. I pulled a mirror. I did that with Ven, didn't I? Well, I knew because Ven has, every time I've mentioned the Pong Council, he didn't know what I was talking about. So
I didn't?
No.
Okay.
You never answered me when I would talk about it.
Well, I didn't know you were talking about like something I need to respond to.
In past conversations, Ven, when we have talked about console gaming, particularly on Trackmania after the show, because they're
You think I'm paying attention to a single thing any of you kids are talking about? I'm
every
shutting
time I've
down
mentioned
servers.
the Pong console, you never responded, so I didn't know.
Oh man, did something explode?
Oh,
No.
Arthurian.
Everything's running. Apparently, Arthurian's also typing out a dissertation. The Famicom? Yeah, I had the original NES. I had the 2600. Like,
Oh, yeah, the Russian.
the thing about, like, especially with, like, the 80s and 90s consoles is, like, unless you were just sticking your fingers in your ears and going la la la, they were vastly superior to PC gaming. As far as, like, go look at some early PC games. They're rough. I think we see probably what we'd consider like modern PC gaming, like even all the way up to 96, 97 when we first started getting some decent 3D acceleration. Because that was like one of the things Carmack tried to get Nintendo to bring Mario to the PC, because Carmack figured out a way to do effective scrolling on a PC, which really wasn't the thing, because, you know, it was always like you were on one screen and you went to the next screen. Where the DS had the rasterization, it could, like, you could just scroll the entire playfield. Nintendo's like, nah, don't want to mess with it. Osborne's old school. Duke Nukem, Commander Keen. Yeah. Okay. See, you gotta roll it all. That was like the real breakout with like PC. Like that got people who are like, wait a minute, I can't do that on my console. You can't get that on my console. Like Wolfenstein? That's a good point when you bring that in, because that was always the one game, especially like Doom. You could bring somebody and show them Doom, and you're like, you can't do that on your NES or your Super Nintendo. And like, nope, can't. You know what? I'm glad people enjoyed, you know, Double Fine bringing back the point and click genre, but it's like I said when we were doing what was it, Broken Age? Like that genre went out of like favor for a good reason. Like, there's only so many ways you can do a point and click adventure game before you're just playing point and click adventure game in the game. It's still there. I mean, yeah. What was it? Thimbleweed Park? That was a point and click in the Monkey Island 2? Man, Arthur, and you know as well as I do, there's certain places, if you call an RTS point and click, you're going to get cut. You better be careful. You know that point and click adventure game? What, StarCraft 2? Yeah. I never get into StarCraft. I don't know. Like real-time strategy, I've always been a fan. Like even like Myth 2, I was a fan of real-time strategy. Like 0AD is pretty decent, a little bit slow-paced, but I never get into MOBAs. You know, when we get into our Dotas and League of Legends, like that just does not appeal to me, and it's not from lack of trying. I've tried to get into them a couple of times.
Yeah, I've played them just to know what the universe is about, and because, well, I go to the company that makes it all the time. I go to their meetups, even though I don't play them.
But I like the action, story-rich RPG, preferably with some fighting in it. You know, something like God of War, no, or Horizon Ginger Turbo, which is getting their scuttlebutt that they're going to be working on a Horizon Zero Dawn multi-MMO. It's going to be interesting how they do that. That's an interesting world to explore. A future inhabited by robot dinosaurs. Pretty interesting. And you see, that's like one thing we always had on PC, like compared to consoles for the longest time, is online multiplayer. That was something you were just accustomed to having. And even to this day, I will laugh in your general direction that you have a console that you have to pay to play online. And don't come at me with like, no, it's included with my $20 a month Game Pass thing. Like, you're paying for that. Or your PS Plus or whatever it is. I don't exactly know how it works, so I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure you got to pay them money in order to play video games online today on modern consoles.
Well, we were playing online multiplayer before there was an internet, so there is that.
Even with
doing
the
it on the
internet,
BBSs.
like peer-to-peer, null modem connections, those are all doable.
Oh, we were doing it on bulletin board systems. I remember playing Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein, and then later Doom.
I did a lot direct modem connections with Doom. I didn't do it so much with Wolfenstein. Oh man, look at all those glorified word processors. Hey, there's a Apple II in there, I think, up in the upper right-hand corner. That's like the one thing I've never had. I've never bought a Mac.
I probably have about 100 of them in my collection.
I take that back. I have that Apple TV. I guess that counts as a Mac.
Yeah, it is. Well, it runs
computer
a
made.
modified Mac OS on it.
It did. I mean, I was tempted to buy like one of the first iPads. I waited it out.
Yeah, Computique. Yeah, I remember that store in Lawndale. Oh boy. I go in there and I wanted everything, and I was a kid and I couldn't afford any of it.
Don't really get that experience anymore. Window shopping. For like modern electronics, because like if you think about like you'd always have, no matter what village you were in, there would be a computer store. Be it even if it was Radio Shack's here?
Yeah, Radio Shack.
And, just the place that, like what Jill was describing, a place you could walk in and be like, well, I can't afford any of this, but man, I'm going to look at it. Aspirational.
Oh, actually, But Radio Shack was one of the few that actually had affordable computers.
They made the much loved Tandy.
Trashy 80. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, fries didn't exist when I was, yeah.
Somebody was made a comment about the recent horror movie Nope. And he said the most unbelievable thing in this movie was because it was filmed when Fry's was still open.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we had Federated Group. That was another one. You buy computers at You could buy computers almost in every store, in Zodi's, in White Front. Most people here don't know these names.
The dark times.
Yeah, the dark times.
That's like, you know, it was, I guess there's no advantage to having a parts store anymore, but, you know, there's definitely like, worst case scenario, you could always drive to a micro center to get emergency stuff, because you can't really get, it used to be Best Buys. You could go and just pay that Best Buy price if you absolutely needed, like that afternoon, needed a power supply or a motherboard, like, ooh, motherboard. You wanted to pay that 200% markup and fight with the person who was checking you out that didn't want to let you give them money until you got the extended warranty on everything. So now it is pretty much, speaking of Fry's, it's just Micro Center, isn't it? Is there any national chain in North America?
Micro Center.
Outside of Micro Center?
No. I mean, we have a lot of local shops, but those aren't chains. Oh, boy.
And Micro Centers are not everywhere.
Yeah, there's about 20 or 30 of them across the U.S.
Yeah, I don't know how many there are.
It's not a big chain. And they're careful at expanding for obvious reasons.
How many?
They've been smart about it.
Okay. How many? Come on. I don't want anyone cheating. No one cheating. How many Micro Centers are nationwide in the United
31.
States? 35. Okay. 31? Jill's on 31?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 20.
Okay.
15. You'd have such sores. Well, they're kind of like an oasis at this point. So our total number of locations with Micro Centers nationwide is 25.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Best Buy is nothing but a showcase for laptops and like televisions at this point.
Well, they actually, they will, if you bring in an ad or show them online the price of a product, they'll give it to you for that price. They do internet matching now, and that's why they've stayed alive.
But they'd have to have something that I want.
Yeah,
would be the problem.
Mm-hmm. But that's
Best
why
Buy
they're still
got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
What was it, like 10, 12 years ago? Because Best Buy had their, because, they would do the price matching. If you're like, hey, I found this on this website and you got to do it, and Best Buy's like, oh yeah, here, let us pull it up. And they would pull it up on their own internal website, which would give a different price. And they got in trouble with that. And they're like, oops, we didn't mean to do that. That was by an accident. Yeah, it's just like, you don't think about Well, it's like even at Radio Shack, by the end of Radio Shack, you didn't expect, like maybe I knew one Radio Shack location that stocked, diodes, transistors, resistors, capacitors, and like barely. They had like one Snap-on toolbox with some stuff in it. Like it was sad. But it was better than nothing. And that's kind of what Best Buy is. Like maybe you get lucky. Last time I was in a Best Buy, I went in and I was getting a DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort connector. I asked 4 different people in the store. Blank stares. Just, what? Huh? No, is that for the TV? And I'm like, no, DisplayPort. And I finally clicked in my head. I said, where's your Apple products? And then they took me over to it and I was like, no, the connectors for Apple things. And they're like, oh, and it was, I kid you not, in the far backest, against the wall of the store, right-hand corner. A little section that big. And they had a DisplayPort adapter. I'm like, thank you. Done. And I got out. So I don't know if they tried to sell me an extended warranty on it. I don't remember. I was all right, everyone. That is together. Now let me stop that recording. Cool. Do we got anything else going on before we bounce out of here? I know Jordan is going to be back for Borderlands tonight.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow then. All right. Yeah, look at him. He's being early.
Yeah, he put up the announcement early.
And if you want to join him, make sure you have a level 9 character or under. And make sure you @reply the burning fool in Discord so he'll know that you're going to be showing up.
Yeah.
If you can make that, it'd be brilliant. I'll come watch. I would play, but I don't like Borderlands. It's like one of the few shooters I just couldn't get into. Not from lack of trying. I've tried them all, except for 3, because 3's not on Steam. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Love you all. Hehe.